I mean, there were varying degrees of craziness in those debates, but everybody was sort of working within the paradigm of we come from a place of honor, right? We have differing political opinions, economic opinions, whatever, but we as politicians are operating from a place of honor, and Trump does not care about that. He does not care about the office of the presidency. That is a thing that he is absolutely willing to sacrifice in order to keep his real agenda, which is his own popularity and his own ratings and his own fame and his own enrichment.
Well, that's the big one right
going.
there.
So, which means that he was able to change the conversation. He could be ugly and toxic in a way that, like, traditional politicians, I mean, it's so outside the norm. So what it's done, and because he only tells lies and everything has shifted, the whole American discourse around policy and politics and interactions between each other, whether it's, people on CNN or people on the street. It feels like the whole thing is just sort of shifted out of place. And these things that we will, at some point, we will all come forth and have a conversation about, boy, I'm glad she was crazy, your girlfriend was crazy. Like, I don't know if we will be able to recover from that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think we're past the point of being, because I think at this point, like, I think that it's such a competition. We've got to the point where we're treating everything like that. It's going to get to the only way to get another person in. Yeah. Even after he's done, is we have to get someone more popular. Like, that's the game.
He's
that's the political game we're going to
play.
play.
It's a reality TV show. It is definitely. Yeah. You see, I can say what I want to say. I don't care if it's true. Yeah. It doesn't have to be true.
He's like that shocking character, right?
Yeah,
the one that
I can just keep saying and spouting. Well, there's tapes. Well, you better hope there's not any tapes. Oh, I'd be more than willing. I'll speak right in front of Congress. Where's that at?
Yeah, so like this baseline of honor and decency that held everybody across the political spectrum sort of pegged to one place that we could all agree on. Like, this is truth and this is lie. This is honorable. This is dishonorable. Right. It's all fucking gone. How will we ever get that genie back in the bottle? I do not know.
Because all I have to do is I did a sleight of hand. Yeah. We, like you said, everybody's so gullible. And now, because you've turned everything into fake news, people are just, what is that? They had those companies that are making money off of fake news. Yeah. They said, wait a minute, dude, you're putting this out? And you know it's not true? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
And there are people paying me to put this out. And
well, because news is entertainment, and so once it becomes entertainment and not information, then the rules are gone.
Who's the guy that Trump talks to, that Megyn Kelly talked to? Who was that guy?
Alex Jones.
Oh, my
God. He
listens
to that guy.
This is the child slave colony on Mars guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Which...
He said that
just
Sandy Hook was a fake. This guy said Sandy Hook did not even happen.
Well, I think we need to give props to Megyn Kelly for shining that light on Alex Jones and showing the people, like, really, what the fuck,
Because they were saying, why are we interviewing this guy? Do we have to talk to him?
Why did she dignify him with the interview in the first place?
I don't give her credit for that.
I didn't follow through.
Why is she treating him like he counts for anything? Like,
him what he wanted. You gave him airtime.
A platform.
Yes. And the fact that what he did shine on, that our president actually listens to this dude and has followed his narrative. He calls him. Yeah. That should tell people what you're calling a guy who's telling you that Sandy Hook didn't happen.
These are people who at one time would have been the village idiots, and now they're at the White House level. Like,
oh no, they still are the village idiot. It's just they have a much bigger microphone, bigger village, and
no, I'm going to disagree with you. They're not the village idiot, because a village idiot is a powerless person. Someone who just talks and ignores.
Village idiot used to be powerless,
but now no. I'm going to stick to this. They're not village idiots. They're people of power in our society. People who were once village idiots are now people of power. They're insane. Like, this sounds so stupid, but I binge watched I never watched People versus OJ. Everyone's talking about this, and I finally binge watched it last. It was very good, and I finally binge watched it, and it was interesting because the Furman, the cop, right? He you see the reaction people had when he was making all these racist comments, and they saw, and which is what really helped the defense, right? Now that person that was seen that way is in the White House. Like, it wasn't that, like, how did that person at once who was like who would be seen as public enemy number one, they made their way to the White House. They're not. You have to sell
the narrative. Mm-hmm. You have to sell the narrative of look what they're doing to us. Mm-hmm. This is us. That's how the alt-right comes out. Yeah. Okay, this guy's we're not racist. We just want everything to be pure and what pure is that they should take that out of their narrative. It's never going to happen. No one's pure in this country. Let it go. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
The difference between village idiots and fascists, like power fascists who are running a country, is whether or not they have power. Mm-hmm. Which is why, like, I think the problem a lot of us liberals make is we're like, oh, they're so stupid. I don't know. And we laugh at them.
I disagree because I think that there are smart fascists and stupid fascists. I think that Donald Trump is a stupid fascist, but I think that he is being aided by smart ones. Mitch McConnell is not a stupid man. He is a very, 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 very smart and very evil man. And, and that's how that's how Trump is able to have whatever. He's being lifted up.
Yeah, but the point I was trying to make, though, about that is that we, as liberals, we hear these people saying stupid things, and we keep laughing at them like, oh, what a fool, what an idiot, what a fool, what an idiot. But it's like, okay, maybe they're stupid, but they're powerful fools and they're powerful idiots.
Yeah, no.
They have
people
a power
are listening to them and believing them.
Yeah, and not just listening and believing them. They have the power to affect our legislation in our country, and they are affecting our everyday lives, right? So this like approach that we take to them that they're stupid, we need to like. I kind of get frustrated with it because yes, they're fools, but they're also smart enough to get there. Like they have a certain kind of access. They're stupid, but they have a certain kind of access.
They have access, but are they able?
But we have to start. For me, at least, I feel like, I'm a person of color. I never felt like this government was on my side anyway. When I hear a lot of people like, oh, it's so bad, I'm like, it's kind of always been bad for some of us, you know what I mean? But at the same time, these people so us just calling them stupid all the time is not helping the situation. We're making fun of their intellect, but we're not providing any solutions or coming to solutions of how to push back against that, We also need to, along with our analysis of how stupid they are, we need to come with,
they're playing
you don't bring a problem without a solution. So we have to come with an organized plan on how to push back on these people.
All right, but here's the thing. I just want to say they're playing a different game. I think I'm going to peg off of what you said about legislation because obviously they haven't passed any legislation yet. I mean, the amount that this government has been able to actually accomplish in these first 7 months or whatever it's been is almost nothing, zero. That does not, so they don't have the experience, the intelligence, and the focus to enact actual legislation or the votes. However, they're playing a different game. And I think what they're focusing on is a longer game in terms of the judiciary. I think they're trying to fucking get the Supreme Court and leave everything in place so that we are fucked way, way, way down the road. Props to my friend Justin Hanlon for this because he's the one who pointed it out after listening to our show last week. And he said, yeah, basically what they're going to do is they're trying to load up the Supreme Court and then it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It really almost doesn't matter. They know too that they're on a very short term. They feel that they will probably not see a second term, and that's their game. And if we don't focus on what's happening at that level, then we're really going to be screwed in the future.
Absolutely. Well,
I would say something. No, go on. They are passing legislation, and I will say it this way: maybe not in a national level. But their popularity does have a very strong cultural influence on local elections and politics, and they are winning local elections. They are winning state level, they're winning county level, they're winning city level. So they are passing a lot of legislation.
I was referring to federal legislation.
So and they have a huge influence on our culture right now. And yeah, they're stupid, but making fun of them for being stupid isn't doing any good for us. We need to understand their game, and like what you said, we have to focus on what they're actually focusing on accomplishing, rather than just talking about how stupid they are.
Well, they're using things as distractions. I mean, that is the reason. This whole thing with the Misha and Mika, Joe Scarlett, that's a distraction. That is something that has no meaning. But in our society, it has meaning because people pay attention to a lot of this stuff. The guy is treating us just like a regular TV show, and no one is really picking up on what he's doing. He sits on his tweet. He just sits on his. on the toilet and he's hitting the Twitter and I'm going to say this today and everything. And I'm like, yeah. And he's saying that we're the bullies. They're bullying me. Look what they're doing to me. They hate me.
He's the master deflector. And, you know, I read one of the more terrifying aspects of Donald Trump is his alliance with Roy Cohn. And I was reading an in-depth article about that relationship last week and how far back that relationship goes and how instrumental Roy Cohn was in, forming Trump's personality. I mean, he was a real father figure to him, because as we know, Fred Trump, not a great father figure. And the hallmark of Roy Cohn's philosophy in life is if they hit you, you just accuse them of the same thing.
Right.
You just flip it right back.
Right.
Anything, any kind of an attack, you just turn the tables on it. It doesn't matter if it's true or crazy or what. And that is completely working for him.
Right, but he's gaslighting people.
We suffer for a lack of knowledge. And the more people who do not read, who do not pay attention, but only pay attention to to the folks who are selling fear.
Yeah.
And sell that you're telling me that the immigrant is your problem. You're telling me that the Muslim is your problem.
Yeah.
No, it is the corporate greed that is in our country that is making it now that you can't buy a home. The average home in our society right now is in LA, just LA, $550,000 for a median home that is not coming back. Just in 2007, that house was worth nothing. By 2008, it was definitely not worth anything. And now, you lower the interest rates, you get everything, and now no one can buy a home. A person making $60,000 now, they say, well, the DWP raised the pay for a DWP worker, But they're saying, how can you do this? Well, who's cutting the deals? Who's cutting the deals with the corporations and everything else? They said, well, how is Amazon buying Whole Foods? Everybody's just getting bigger and bigger, and our salaries have not moved since 1971. And Trump is not helping those salaries move.
No.
He's not. He's helping corporate. That's why.
But he's putting on a hell of a show for these people, so they don't,
Yeah, they're not seeing what he's doing.
The taxes are not being cut for the rich in the healthcare bill. Their taxes are being reduced, but yet you, the consumer, yours is going up, and you say, whoa, they're saying that with Obamacare, the premiums are going up. The premiums have always went up. Mm-hmm. They've never stayed where they are. Why aren't we jumping on these insurance companies who are killing these people?
Well, you know why? Because in order to do something about the insurance up the rates, that would require regulation. And of course, the Republicans, regulation is bad.
They've convinced their followers to think that regulating a corporation will somehow take away their personal freedoms, which it won't. It'll give them more freedom because you'll be able to live a life.
Right.
But they've really convinced. They're so humanized.
But
corporations.
It's
the same country though where we had to have regulations because corporations were making. I mean, we had children picking berries at 5. We had to fight to get 8 hours of work. I mean, people used to actually have to work 16-hour days. And we fought. Why? Because we had government regulations who regulated those corporations to make them do the things for the people.
Well, and also because we had, still for now have unions.
Right.
That got a 40-hour work week, that got paid vacation for workers. And that's the other thing, so many people are trained. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I worked at a job where I was in a position that was needlessly union. And, it was like, I could actually probably do better at this company because of their slightly anti-union stance if I was just a regular employee. But knowing, it's like, well, I'm really not suffering that much. And knowing, how important unions are for other people, I'll deal with a mosquito so that somebody doesn't get the feeling of a kick in the crotch.
That's what
it's
a mature, reasonable adult who's not who doesn't
think
the world revolves around them and their feelings.
It makes no sense why I'm doing it, but
it's like because you're seeing a picture outside of just yourself. You're seeing a broader picture. No other people live in this world.
That's how these things work. But I mean, you're seeing one of my quotes from this week, and I understand we can't call them idiots, but when
we can, we just can't stop there.
Well, right, but it's when they say things like, well, I don't want my insurance